The Senators and the Canadiens faced off last night for Game 1 in the first series of the postseason. Our expert handicapper Ross Benjamin gave his picks on that game. He called an over on the 5-goal total line, and he absolutely nailed it. The game ended with the Canadiens taking the win 4-3. And if you didn't cash on that game, now is the time to listen up, because we've got Ross here with us again to talk over his free picks on Game 2 of this exciting series. Ross, thanks so much for being back with us today.
It's an absolute pleasure, Megan. Thank you for having me.
All right, now you're 2 for 2 on your picks so far in the playoffs. You've got to be feeling great right now, am I right?
I'm absolutely feeling fantastic.
All right, I love it. Now let's see if we can keep this rolling here and see what you've got for us for Game 2. The Senators fell short here in Game 1 of the series with Andrew Hammond in goal, but I mean, this is a rookie playing in his first playoff game ever, and he was on the road in the Canadiens' house. He allowed 4 goals in the first game, which is very unlike him. So what do you think about Hammond trying to bounce back in Game 2 here, Ross?
Well, this guy really was a major surprise. If you stop and think about it and keep everything in perspective, this was a guy who was playing in the American Hockey League up until the second week of February, when he was called up to Ottawa because due to the injury to Craig Anderson, who was their #1 goaltender at the time. I don't even think the most ardent of Senators fans would have believed that he would have performed at the level he has. As a matter of fact, he went 20-3 and 23 starts during the regular season with an outstanding .943 save percentage. Man, oh man, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who's been around a long time that could put up those kind of numbers. But you know what? Starting in goal for your first career Stanley Cup playoff game and having to do so in Montreal, Megan, that's like sending a local Catholic priest to the Vatican in Rome and having him conduct Mass before hundreds of thousands of people. That's what it's like playing in Montreal and the lore that comes along with that. So it didn't shock me at all that he was a bit shaky, and it wouldn't shock me again if he's shaky again in Game 2. It was the second time in 24 starts that Hammond had allowed 4 goals or more in a game, and that certainly speaks volumes to the pressure of playoff hockey.
Absolutely, Ross. He definitely has his work cut out for him, and now the Senators have even more of a challenge as they lost their forward, Mark Stone, to a wrist fracture in last night's game. Ross, how will this affect the Senators moving forward into Game 2?
Well, it'll certainly affect the Senators. I mean, this is a guy that was on a 9-game point streak, meaning he had 1 point or more in each of his previous 9 games or the last 9 regular season games for the Senators. And, you know, it looked like it wasn't a cheap shot from P.J. Subban. When I watched the video of it this morning, it looked like he was just trying to take his stick out and accidentally caught him right on the wrist. Stone went to the locker room, he came back, he went to the locker room, he came back like 3 separate times. So I didn't think it was as bad an injury as it ended up turning out to be, but it'll certainly have some effect. And if you know anything about my handicapping style, and Megan, you're just getting to learn it now, I don't really get over excited when it comes to injuries, weather, those miscellaneous factors, because if we know about it, the books in Las Vegas certainly do, right? So, yeah, it's going to affect the Senators in the long haul if he's out for an extended period of time. But as far as the line in this particular matchup goes, I'm not overly concerned with that.
All right, and you can certainly trust that from the guy who's going 2 for 2 so far in the playoffs. All right, now, Ross, the Canadiens are the favorites here. No surprise there. In Game 2, they're priced at -135, -140 in some sports books. But this Montreal team did reveal a few weaknesses to the Senators in Game 1. Can we really trust this Habs team to get it done tonight, Ross?
Well, I'm going to look at the total in this contest, Megan. I'm not so sure that they will win 2 in a row. I mean, Ottawa did not play a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I found this opening game of the series on Wednesday to be the most entertaining of all 4 that were played. These Atlantic Division rivals have seen just one of their last 9 meetings stay under the total, and that includes none of the previous 6 played at the Bell Center in Montreal. Montreal has also not seen any of their last 10 games stay under the total, and they failed to go under the total in each of their previous 9 games when facing an Atlantic Division opponent like they will be on Friday. So I'm going to take this game to go over the number. I like Ottawa and Montreal to go over the total of 5.
All right, once again, Ross Benjamin 2 for 2 on his picks for the NHL playoffs, giving you another free pick on the totals here for Game 2 of the Senators versus Canadiens showdown going down on Friday. And if you want another exclusive pick from Ross, check out the links below this video for his selections on the Islanders versus Capitals game as well. And for all the best picks and plays on the Stanley Cup playoffs, keep it locked right here with us at SBRpicks.com.